5 minutes from the border with El Paso, Texas, this part of Mexico looks and feels very much like the United States. But look a little closer, and it's clear all is not normal here. This is Juárez, Mexico, and with 326 murders in August, the city is beginning to feel less like an American suburb and more like a war zone. This is Brent and Craig Renault. 6 months ago, we reported on the violent drug war that had erupted here between two rival cartels, battling over lucrative drug smuggling routes into the United States. Last March, the violence had gotten so bad that Mexican President Felipe Calderón sent 10,000 federal troops and police officers into the city to bolster an outgunned and corrupt local police force.
¿Qué era el trabajo del papá? Pues está con las drogas y también están matando gente.
6 months ago, we profiled the work of Aliviane in El Paso, Texas, a nonprofit organization dedicated to drug treatment and counseling for victims of violence related to the drug war. Victims like Jesus, whose father was brutally murdered.
Ahorita ya estamos viviendo otra guerra mundial en Juárez. Ya no se puede confiar en nadie. No ha sido por toda la vida.
In September, 3 gunmen burst into Aliviana's affiliated treatment center in Juárez, lined up 17 patients, and executed them.
One hitman put in this part, the other in this part, and they started to kill. This is AK-47.
Miguel Macias owns a private security company in Juárez. He believes the violence has begun to take on a new level of brutality.
Smell the blood.
The Aliviana incident is one in a string of attacks on drug rehabilitation centers in Juárez. Authorities believe that Mexican gangs see the treatment centers as hunting grounds, where they can stamp out rivals.
5 pesos.
Sí. Así déjelo.
Gracias, buen día.
Look, 6 bodies in 4 hours. This is normal. Somebody cut both hands. It's the same stories every day. Bodies and blood.
For a brief moment 6 months ago, as the federal troops arrived in the city, it seemed like things just might get better. As Juárez Mayor Jose Reyes Fariz told us last April, there was an immediate drop in the number of murders.
We're very happy with the way the crime has gone down since the presence of the Army.
No.
This is the final step in clearing up drugs from our city.
It didn't turn out that way. 6 months later, the violence in Juárez has reached an all-time high.
The reality is, we have a problem here because you have a problem there. Your consumption of drugs is very high. Arms that are coming into Mexico come from the United States. The money that's financing their operation comes from the United States.
We met again with the mayor, this time in his office, which overlooks downtown El Paso, right across the border. We asked him about the Army's failure to contain the violence in Juárez.
I don't want the Army involved in police work. I know that armies don't do well as police officers, but things were so bad in the city, there was no other way of getting things under control.
The question of why the Army has not succeeded in reducing violence has generated much debate in Juárez. Many people believe there are not enough troops to police a city of over 1.5 million people. The mayor says the cartels have learned to avoid military patrols. And the Army says, as bad as the violence is, if they were not in Juárez, it could be even worse.
Every day for 14 years, I have been coming across the border, trying to make the world a little better.
6 months ago, we met Sister Donna Kustich. Every day, she would travel from the safety of her home in El Paso, Texas, across the border into the poorest neighborhoods of Juárez, where she employs nearly 50 women to work with local youth. When we went to check in with Sister Donna on this latest trip, for the first time in 14 years, she could not be found working in the women's center.
Ustedes saben que robaron a Dana, su carro. Dos hombres la bajaron y traían armas. Pero sí da miedo. Dana habló con su congregación y la congregación ahorita no está dispuesta a que Dana venga.
Yeah, these are just beautiful pictures. That's neat. There's the chapel and the cross. Isn't that cute? That was Christmas.
We found Sister Donna at home in El Paso with her colleague Sister Maureen, discussing the women's center that she built in Juárez, but can no longer visit.
This young woman here started with us when she was a child. She is now a certified teacher of kindergarten, and that's because we have helped her get that far. We can't abandon them. No. We can't walk away from them, no matter what.
It is too early to know for sure, but without Sister Donna and the American assistance she brings with her, the center will struggle to stay open.
Que cerrando este centro, muchas de nosotros no vamos a tener otra entrada a la casa.
Pues yo no sé qué voy a hacer porque ya en las maquilas, ni siquiera en las maquilas.
Que tengo ya 14 años aquí, entonces es toda una vida con ella y sí se siente uno muy mal.
And I'm kept away from them because of the violence that's happening around here and because of our fear.
We're scared now. It's very hard here.
Ruth Rodriguez has worked at the Women's Center with Sister Donna for years. People in her community are poor and have always struggled. But the violence is making life worse, and many are beginning to question the point of having the army in Juárez at all.
Hay más matanzas.
Okay, more killings.
Ahora que vinieron los soldados, hay más matanzas.
Sí.
Donde quiera se encuentran los muertitos tirados.
And now it's maybe 10 killings a day.
No, que se vayan.
They better go. It's better the soldiers not to be here.
Definitivamente.
Yo pienso que ni hace nada.
Most of the people we spoke to complained that the army was unable to control the violence. Others claimed the army has resorted to brutal tactics while aggressively pursuing the cartels in the poorer neighborhoods. The mayor insists there is indeed a plan, and he is prepared to move forward with a phased withdrawal of troops from the city at the end of the month. After firing over half of the police force for corruption, he has trained thousands of new recruits, which he hopes will be less susceptible to corruption and who will try and accomplish what the army has not been able to do: stop the killing in Juárez.
The only way to have a safe and secure city is to have a good, solid, honest police department. And hopefully we'll get things under control pretty fast.
But with so much violence for so long, many in Juárez, like Ruth Rodriguez, are beginning to lose hope that things will change.
I think sometimes that the bad guys are killing the people just to tell the soldiers that they're not good for nothing. And I think it's one of the hardest part because our kids will not feel secure. Never. If they don't feel secure now, then when?
Brent and Craig Renault, reporting for the New York Times, Juárez, Mexico.